It's officially draft season for the New York Jets, and the sad thing is the regular season is not even over. But after their loss to the Miami Dolphins on Sunday, the New York Jets are officially eliminated from the playoffs, and it honestly felt like we were officially eliminated when we started 0-7. But hey, now that we're mathematically eliminated, let's talk about the 2026 NFL Draft. There's a mock draft that just came out on ESPN from Field Yates that I want to react to, and the reason why we were talking about this specific mock draft is because the New York Jets make a trade in this one, and this is a trade that I would strongly consider if I am the New York Jets, and I definitely want to get your guys' thoughts in the comments. Would you consider the New York Jets doing this type of trade? Would you be happy about it or not? We're going to break down this trade in this video, so make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on your way into the show, and make sure you comment down below your thoughts when you get to the end of the video, because we're going to break down the trade and let me know if you would be down for it or if you would not be down for it. And of course, subscribe here to Jets Media if you are new. We got so much content coming your way all throughout this season, breaking down trades like this, breaking down the 2026 NFL Draft, off-season. I mean, there's so much that the Jets are going to be doing in this year's offseason because of the cap space they have, because of the draft picks they have. 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. I mean, this is just everything you want if you're a Jets fan in terms of an offseason that the Jets are about to enter. So let's get straight into business. I'm going to leave the link down below in the description if you guys want to check out the article for yourself. But without further ado, let's jump into it. So as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, of course, and you probably already saw the mock draft, yes, we're talking about the Jets trading up to number 1 overall with the New York Giants, drafting Fernando Mendoza. But the big question is, what is the trade? Are the Jets giving up everything? Is it something the Jets should not do because they don't want to give up all the assets? So that's really what this trade is going to be looking like. But before we get into the exact trade package, I did pose this question on X yesterday, and I wanted to ask you guys this question because it is directly related to what this video is going to be about. If Oregon's quarterback Dante Moore declares for the 2026 NFL Draft, and say hypothetically he's available wherever the Jets are selecting, would you want the Jets to trade up for Mendoza or stay put and draft a guy like Dante Moore? Because there's 2 different angles here. There's, okay, you get your quarterback and you keep all the assets that you can build around the quarterback, or you do everything you can to trade up to number 1 to get Fernando Mendoza. I think it really just comes down to, are these New York Jets and Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn that in love with Fernando Mendoza that they feel like it's worth trading up for, sacrificing draft capital for him, or do they like Dante Moore enough where they feel like he's still a quarterback they absolutely love and they want to keep their assets to build around him? So really interesting divide here. A lot of Jets fans are letting their opinions be known underneath this post on X. Make sure you guys let your opinion be known underneath this video about this specific topic. Now, let's get into what the trade package looks like, and maybe that'll make you feel a little bit more inclined of which way you are, whether you want to trade up or not. So here's the projected trade of the Jets moving up to number 1. Let's read what Field Yates had to say. The Giants drafted the quarterback of the future in Jackson Dart and a building block pass rusher in Abdul Carter this year, making this a scenario where they would likely field offers to move down if they do end up with a number 1 overall pick. The Jets, meanwhile, can make an aggressive move for a quarterback. Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, and now Brady Cook haven't stabilized their QB situation. The Jets are equipped with more premium draft picks than any other team after their deadline dealings of Sauce and Quinnen, of course. In this mock draft trade, the Jets would send both of their first-round picks, number 7 and 18, and a day 2 pick to the Giants for the top selection. All right? So that means the New York Jets are basically trading away their 7th overall pick and their 18th overall pick they got from the Colts and one of their 2 second-round picks to move up to number 1. And basically, the Jets are left with a first and a second round pick this year, and all of their remaining picks in the 2027 draft. That right there, yes, that is immediate yes. If that's what the price is to trade up, I'm doing that without even blinking, because that is the best possible. I honestly think this is unrealistic. That's how I look. I look at this and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's exactly what it would cost. I think it's going to cost a little bit more, unless that first round pick the Jets have from the Colts is that valuable, because I would assume that they're going to ask for at least a pick in the 2027 draft and a little bit more. The Jets are basically giving up their first-round pick this year, their Colts first-round pick, and a second-round pick, and then you're left with the first overall pick in Fernando Mendoza in this hypothetical scenario, and you still have a second-round pick. So you're basically leaving the draft like you would if you didn't make those big-time blockbuster trades when you traded away Sauce and Quinnen, you're left with still a first and a second and all your remaining round 3, 4, 5, and round 7 picks. So, I mean, I think that is an absolute no-brainer for the Jets, but I do think it'll be a little bit more if I had to ask. But let's read what he had to say about the Jets selecting Fernando Mendoza. Mendoza has had a remarkable season at Indiana, showing off excellent accuracy and a powerful right arm to pair with much improved pocket awareness and sack avoidance after 2 seasons at Cal. He leads college football with 33 passing touchdowns this season and just handled an extremely tough test against Ohio State, leading Indiana to its first Big Ten championship since 1967. The Jets are currently 27th in QBR, needing a long-term answer for Coach Aaron Glenn and General Manager Darren Muji to cement themselves within the organization. Now, I'm a huge fan of Fernando Mendoza. I know pretty much every Jets fan is. Majority of you guys love Fernando Mendoza. And the reasons why I think a guy like Mendoza is worth trading up for is simple. The Jets have drafted a lot of quarterbacks that don't really have the intangibles that Fernando Mendoza has, in my opinion, entering the draft. You know, you fall in love with the physical attributes, the athleticism, the throw on the run, the ability to make people miss in the open field, the big arm throwing across your body. But that's not who Fernando Mendoza is. He can do all those things, but not at the scale of these other previous prospects the Jets have drafted. What Fernando Mendoza has is the stuff that I think makes you an absolute star in the NFL, and that's upstairs. I think that his football IQ is ridiculous. You watch all the interviews of Fernando Mendoza, and I know I'm not talking about the post-game interviews after he's high off a win. I'm talking about when he's talking about X's and O's, talking about leverage, talking about coverage, understanding like exactly where the ball needs to go, exactly the ball placement, and then it translates to the field. And the cool thing about Fernando Mendoza that I love too is not just his football acumen upstairs, but it feels like he has that size of your prototypical quarterback that is stout in the pocket. His lower half is connected with his head, which is very important. It feels like you look across the NFL, the big issue with young quarterbacks is sloppy footwork. That was a problem with Sam Darnold when he first became a New York Jet as in his rookie season. Zach Wilson had that issue throughout his entire career. But Fernando Mendoza, at least in the college level, of course, he needs to prove to translate to the NFL. His footwork is so sound and the fundamentals are there. And I think that another big quality that I love from him is his big arm and not afraid to let that thing rip down the field and giving his playmakers opportunities to go out there and make plays. That's the type of quarterback that this Jets offense desperately needs. And that's another thing why I love Fernando Mendoza is I personally think his strengths match exactly what the Jets are looking for in their quarterback in this specific offense led by Tanner Engstrand. They need a guy that is really good with timing, accuracy over the middle, outside the numbers, and not afraid to let the ball be ripped down the field, something that Justin Fields struggled with all throughout his season this year with the New York Jets. Tyrod is obviously the guy that's not afraid to let the ball rip, and now he's injured, and then Brady Cook is trying to figure himself out. But with the Jets' offensive line pretty much set up for pretty much a lot of success moving forward, with playmakers like Garrett Wilson on the outside, A.D. Mitchell developing, John Mechie, of course. We don't know if Brees will be back next year. Mason Taylor is a promising guy. And, of course, there's going to be way more talent coming in the offseason on the offense. I think a guy like Fernando Mendoza is somebody that can elevate guys around him, and you're seeing that in Indiana. I know it's college, but that style of quarterback translates to leveling up everybody. And I think not only his intangibles on the field, but his leadership is something I've noticed as well. High character individual. He is a guy that is just all about football. An infectious personality that's nothing but positivity and, feeding off of each other and giving all of his teammates all the love and the coaching staff the credit, never really giving himself a lot of credit. He's extremely humble. I don't know, man. This is a prospect that is very unique. He kind of reminds me of a Kirk Cousins, but a modern version of him that can make plays with his legs. I think his upside is way higher than Kirk Cousins. He also has a Jared Goff type of energy in him. And remember, Jared Goff did go first overall to the Rams, went to the Super Bowl with the Rams, gets traded to the Lions, and now the Lions are having a lot of success with Jared Goff. And remember, the offense that Ben Johnson built was with Jared Goff in mind. Tanner Engstrand, pass game coordinator with Jared Goff. And I think that the type of offense that the Jets are building needs a quarterback like a Goff. And I think Fernando Mendoza has more upside than Jared Goff, in my opinion, just from the athleticism alone. He's not someone that's going to be even Justin Fields from a mobility standpoint or Josh Allen, if you will. But he can make plays with his legs when he's asked for. But he's that pocket passer. And if you can make a trade like this just by giving up the Colts pick and the Cowboys pick in the second round, and you trade up for number 1 and you still keep your second round pick, and you have all your picks in the 2027 draft, 3 firsts. I mean, that right there is an absolute no-brainer. I think that this is a little unrealistic, I will add, even though I already said that in this video, and there's still 4 games left, so we don't even know where the Jets are going to be landing. Say the Jets finish in the top 5, it's going to make the price a little bit cheaper, but I really do think the New York Jets are strongly considering trading up for Fernando Mendoza. It's really early on. We still have to see how the college playoffs go. We have to see the whole draft process, the combine, the Senior Bowl, all the interviews, the pro days. I mean, there's a long draft process that needs to happen. But let's also not forget what I said earlier on in the video. If the Jets fall in love with a guy like Dante Moore from Oregon or Ty Simpson, even though I know his draft stock is going down a little bit, you never know. Maybe they won't even need to trade up for a quarterback because they feel like the guy they want will be available for them. So there's a long wait until we get these questions finally answered. But let's also not forget the draft is not the only avenue the New York Jets can go for the quarterback position. The Jets could go for a veteran in free agency. They can go for a veteran in the trade market for a bridge and maybe punt on the quarterback position this year in the draft and then draft their guy in 27. I mean, there's so many different scenarios the Jets are going to go about, but this is the one that I think is the most popular amongst Jets fans, is trading up for Fernando Mendoza, which is why I wanted to make this video to kind of break down what a trade would look like from a guy like Phil Yates in ESPN. He obviously understands trade value, and if he thinks this is going to be able to work, I mean, I'm all in, bro. I mean, no brainer. There's not one part of me that would not do this trade, because the fact is, which I said already multiple times in the video, but I'm still thinking about this hypothetical, and I'm mind blown, that you keep your picks in 27 and you still have a second-round pick in that draft. Like, that is an absolute home run if the Jets were able to do this mock draft. You guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Comment down below a plain emoji if you stay to the end, but don't forget to let me know your opinion, of course, of this mock draft. And, of course, big shout-out to Sleeper for being the proud sponsor of Jets Media all throughout the season. If you guys did not check them out, the link is at the top of the description. Use the code JETS to get a 100% deposit match up to $100, folks. Big-time shout-out to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor. Terms and conditions apply as always, but you guys get a $20 for free when you sign up today, so don't forget to check that out. And the last thing I'll say, man, is let's let this process play itself out before we all get really angry and upset at each other and rooting for wins, rooting for losses, rooting for tanks, this, and that. Like, I'm really going into these last 4 games with an open mind of whatever happens, happens. I've been saying this throughout the entire season. I've been saying it for multiple seasons in a row. When you're in December and you're out of it, obviously, losses impact the Jets draft in a better light, but I'm not someone that's going to be actively rooting against the Jets because that does not have any impact on what happens on the field. So whatever happens, happens, and I think the Jets got all the ammunition possible to trade up for that first overall pick if they really, really want to. But the one thing I will add, though, the Jets are not going to be the only team calling for that number 1 overall pick. The Raiders could be trying to leap up for that number 1 pick. Even I've seen the Rams are a team to watch to trade up for number 1 because they got that Falcons pick. It's making them actually a team that's possible to trade up for that first overall pick. So a lot of teams are going to be interested in that number 1 overall pick, not just the Jets, just to keep that in mind. So that's going to wrap up this video, folks. Hit the thumbs up button if you forgot. Appreciate you guys as always, and let's go Jets. I'm out.